agenda was emailed out and passed out. We'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, minutes have also been passed out. Don't think they were emailed.
No.
But I'll give you a minute to look at them, and when you're ready, we'll consider a motion to approve. Smudged a little bit on mine.
I'll make a move that we accept them as read. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any public input? All right. Committee and authority members report.
Start out with the financials. I do not have the most recent month's financials. Faye did not get those out. I'll email them to the group as soon as we have them. The most recent report that we have was for the period ended 7/31, and I'll give you a minute to look over the report. We're pretty much in line on everything there. So don't know if there's any questions. Happily try to field those if you have them. I think I emailed these to you guys a month ago as well. So. Comments?
Any questions, Fred? All right, thank you. Randy?
Greetings and salutations. October the 6th is the second annual Pickens County Airport Open House and Fly-In. We're soliciting aircraft to come in at this time. The Flying Tigers have tentatively agreed multiple times, so they're going to do the air show. We're going to open the doors at 10, close them at 4. Our hours will be from 9 to 6 for cleanup and fixing everything up. We're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony for the T-hangers, ribbon cutting ceremony. Lead Ed's going to bring the golden shovels, so the Airport Authority, definitely Chamber of Commerce, commissioners, and anybody else that wants to dig a hole.
What's time on that? Do you have a set time?
I'm going to try to do the ribbon cutting and dirt digging at noon, and then let the festivities follow. We've got multiple vendors this year that are going to participate, so unlike last year where we didn't have a lot, we're getting better with each year. So we're doing a contract now to have t-shirts, food vendors, and various aircraft going to be coming in with the enticement of cheap fuel that day if you let the attendant pump it at cost. So if you want to go into a low pass and a couple of maneuvers, swing it in, get your fuel cheaper. We're going to do a NOTAM for the probably 2 hours so that we've got events and trying to get the extra. The P-51 from Greenville, South Carolina, hot air balloon, Stearman, the one that Cal Stevens has, is Stearman, Satabria, Air Coupe, Cessna. If you want to drag your bonanza out here in the country, then yeah, for real.
I hope my bonanza is no longer my bonanza.
Oh, that's right. You won't have to, you can tow your Sundowner over and
There we go, I'll do that.
Yeah, there you go. But it's actually great. We got a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce Thursday morning. The 14th, I think, is the last day to get all our ads in for the flyer inset. It's going to be the Pickens County Progress for a Marble Festival. Am I correct? The Chamber of Commerce is working with us. We will have public transportation. We'll have buses going from the airfield to the Chamber of Commerce, to the park, to the Marble Festival, and round robin all day. We're trying to find helicopter rides. Bush Cat's definitely going to be giving rides there. ACC will have rides as well for a fee, nominal fee. All this is subject to weather. So that's what I got.
That's our all airport
As
operations.
is everything, yes.
Can't get a thing past Randy.
But other than that, I know I'm sharp as a bowling ball. The hangars are going well. The contractor's staying out there and he's making sure that the people that work for him are doing what they're supposed to do. Like some people we know. Other than that, it's just a great
Guys, if you
day.
haven't had a chance, take a minute to drive by.
Please
Hangars
do.
Really are looking nice over there. The groundwork they're doing, getting it all in. It's really nice.
The bargain bar. You turn and there's a place that comes around.
Would you draw me a map?
Yeah, I will. I'll send you an email. Show you how to get there. I know you know, 'cause you used to walk. Any questions? Oh, if you look at our budget, well, the sales for June, July, August, and now September. September's already starting out very nicely. One thing that's picked up on our 100 low lead sales is that Cherokee Flight School is training their students and buying all their fuel with us, and he has 4 aircraft. We sell it better than Cherokee, and he's already committed and signed for 2 tie-down spots, so he's moving his aircraft this way. So we've got a bump. We dropped our fuel price 30 cents, and you can almost tell the day that we dropped it, August the 22nd. You see, we started selling over 200. We've had a good time. Weather's been a factor in a couple of the months, June, July. And the bottom of the September sheet on the bottom left-hand side, our 100 low lead is getting almost to the point to start watching prices. We will need a fill before open house. So we'll have our tanks full by the end of the month. And that should be, that might not be the last fill we get this year. We have one more in October.
Good.
I'm optimistic, and I think so. More people are flying. We've added 5 aircraft to the tie-down spots since the mid-August through this time period. More are coming in anticipation of going into hangars. And I am fielding 10 questions a day from people that wrote checks, want to know how that lottery is going to be doled out. And so far, my corporate answer is first check, first choice. Unless you have a twin, you go into the twin hangars. If you got a single, you take traditional hangars. And I'm going to defer any and all other questions to Mr. Edward.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
I know you can handle it. Any questions?
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Bill?
All right, continue on for that hangar project. Yes. The arc of that thing, that's gone very well, obviously. We worked really hard as far as our screening, and we've got out there the site contractor and the building contractor. The arc of that site work will continue through about the end of September. They're actually on an arc to be done a day early. But as they're working on that, the hangar contractor's forming in the slabs for the buildings. That slab will be put down, and we'll pave the asphalt up against it. Steel will be on site. The Monday after the open house is the 15th. That's when the steel's due to be on site, and they'll begin erecting that. So particularly about when we hit November 1st, you'll really see vertical stuff start to go in. That'll be pretty dramatic. So anyway, it's going great.
On that hangar side, the power pole that's on that north side of that, it's on a big dirt mound there. Is there any way to get that thing out of there? From an access into and out of there?
Yes, and budgetarily, we're seeing how that we stay on track with some other things, and then we'll come back, and if we got the room in there, then we can address that. So we'll go a little bit further to have some confidence on that. All right.
Is that Georgia Power or Amiclo Electric or both?
I think it's, I'm not sure, but I almost think it's Amicalola.
I'll approach it as well.
And we have that captured, but I haven't looked at it for a while because it's been there.
We
for
did
a
some
while.
massive trimming for them, so maybe.
There may be,
help us
yeah,
out.
yeah, absolutely. So that's going really well. And again, you're on an arc where at the end of the year, right at the end of the year. But everything's on point, job's going great. So the other thing that we have for tonight that's a big deal is a 5-year CIP. And I'll pass, this is for everyone to get a copy of. And to get a little background, and I'll let turn over to Ed on this thing. 5-year capital improvement plan is, FAA requires every public use airport in the U.S. to turn in a 5-year capital improvement plan each year. The projects that you propose to do over that time period are broken out showing what federal funding you expect to request. You are not required to do the projects on the list. They're not required to fund the projects on the list. But what it does do is, for an example, a senator in Utah wants to know how much money it will take to do security fencing for every general aviation airport in Georgia. They go to this data pool, right? So the key thing on the document, the format's the same as it's always been. For Georgia, it goes in at the end of November. What you see on the CIP, the first year shown is, those are requests for the next federal fiscal year. So what goes in November of 18, you'll see the first year on there as being 2020, because the application is for next October 1st federal fiscal year. So it seems like there's an invisible year in there. We would typically, in that first year, you would see projects that we even expect to get funded on there, because it's a placeholder to make sure that it gets funded before we remove it from the CIP. Although the CIPs have to go in at the end of November, you have the ability to change it anytime you want. So if you had an opportunity or something came up and you wanted to change it, we could literally go in and change this thing every month if we wanted to.
So if opportunistically, we had an event.
An entity wanted to come in and you know, you needed to rearrange kind of priorities for one reason or another, for safety, for example, then you'd absolutely be expected to do that and could do that. The CIP that's put together right here is continuing evolution. You guys do a great job. We're in September, right? This thing's due at the end of November. You're being proactive in this. You're out front like you always are. This has a lot of thought to it, and I went through this today, but again, it's evolutionary, and I think Ed was with Randy over the weekend, and so this is very representative of everything that you're working toward. It's very positive. It continues a lot of the energy levels related to what's going on at the airport. It's a mixture of new things out there, as well as keeping up with, you know, maintenance and crack sealing and marking and things like that on the airfield. So it's a really solid CIP. Once this is approved to go in, the project shown in the first year, there's a significant amount of paperwork that goes in with those. There's engineer's estimates, there's narratives, there's sketches, there's applications that get filled out. We take care of all of that for you. So this is our guide of what's going to go in with that. So, Ed, anything else in there?
Guys, if there are any questions or comments on it, I'm happy to try and field those, whether that's tonight or get back to me later on once you've had a chance to digest it. As Phil's saying, the 2020 is more of a do list. The rest of it is much more of a wish list, if you will, placeholder. But even the do list, some of these things will not get done in the 2020 year. We realize that, but we're putting it in because of funding opportunities that may come up. So we want those things to be, quote, shovel-ready type projects that if any new funding sources come available, we're quick to jump onto those.
And very specifically, you're aware of some that are coming up that you're going to attempt to take advantage of. Anything you can accomplish with creative funding, it just comes off the list, and then you can use your typical FA money for other items on there. So,
A couple of comments on this, on the property acquisition. We know that's coming. That's next year should finish that, or the 2020. Actually, next year's budget should finish that.
you'll end up with, of the 150, it'll chew up about 100 of FAA money with that.
Right. And then when we look at that south terminal apron rehab, we just had a asphalt survey done. Randy, what was the feedback on that? Have you seen it yet?
Not yet.
Not
Yes.
yet? Because that area, we know it's failing, and it's a question of when, not if, we have to rebuild that. It's the area right in front of Garrett's maintenance hangar. And that asphalt is beginning to degrade to the point that we're getting FOD off there. Already, any heavier aircraft, we're steering them around that area. We don't bring them through. Personally, I won't taxi through that area today. There's too many stones there to damage a propeller on an airplane. So it's something we're going to have to address. We've put in for this a couple of times. The budget's come back because of asphalt cost at the time much higher than what we could justify covering. So recognize it as a high priority project for us.
And you relayed it, and the prioritization was getting the funding back for that outlay for land acquisition. So again, you'll hit next year, that'll retire that and tee you up for that. As far as the other pavement on the airport, everything's in great shape. That study that was referenced is the state pavement evaluation. It's a visual inspection, so they don't do any destructive testing at all, but it scores your pavement on a 0 to 100 scale. So brand new pavement's 100, dust is 0. So of your pavement, then those scores are used for funding justification, things like that. So we would expect that that area is probably gonna be maybe in the 60s or high 50s, I would bet. But it definitely is used then to justify some of this funding. And in this narrative that goes in with that, we'll be referencing that even if we don't have the score back. So yeah, that's a important project, and it's an example of one of those where there's a mixture of taking care of existing needs as well as adding new amenities on the airport.
The windsock upgrade, we've talked about that a couple times. When we get the new hangars finished up, we want to move that windsock, improve it, as well as move the rotating beacon. In addition, the AWAS system, we have spent, if you look at our maintenance budget, we've spent a significant amount of money this year repairing the AWAS system. And the AWAS system is critical for safety. If you don't have that, instant approaches into and out of the county airport rise significantly. And it is indeed a safety factor. So we're getting to the end of life of that equipment. It's not a cheap upgrade or replacement, but we are getting to that end of life. So that's why it's on that 2020 slot.
So action item on this is any comments anyone has for input into it. If not, we just need a motion that this is the version that we'll submit. Obviously, if something comes up between now and November, we have the ability to adjust, but the volume of prep that it takes for those first year projects, it lets us get started on that now.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Only other thing we got is on the PAPIs, in addition to some of the traffic. Seeing on that, which I'll let Randy come in, I'm just kidding. That is actually, those have been ordered, and that's going on. The critical path of that's already taken care of, so even though we're scrubbing off some other stuff. So that was about a 60-day turn, and we're probably 3 weeks into that or something, so it's still in ours. So you're a little over a month, probably right about the open house, or just after,
That'd be
probably,
great.
yeah.
Any word on that update of FAA information about our runway weight limits
Mhm.
that changed?
With that study, then I'll put it this way, the same person who's sending those emails is the person who's doing that. So we're very likely be coming back, and there'll be an optional way to get that inserted in the system. So we're on top of that, but we'll give that gentleman a
Excellent.
chance to follow through on it. If not, we'll take care of it a different way, so. That's a significant.
I want his number. And
Sure.
There you go, that's what we got for tonight.
Thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner's obviously not here. Old business, T-hangers, I think we've covered all there is to cover there. Fonte lease, any updates?
Spoke with Alex, in fact, this afternoon, he was fielding his planes. I was over at the airport just a bit ago. Because of the increase in cost in steel with the threat of the tariffs, he's backing away. He's not going to be building at this point. So, not going to be done. On the Broadwell lease, we have a signed lease in place now. Eric is here. Any comments do you want to make, Eric, from that end?
We're working on the site plan. We hope to have it, we were supposed to have it done last week, but it got delayed, so I was talking to my engineer today. I was trying to get a copy to bring tonight, but she couldn't get it done in time, and there wasn't anything between there and here to get it printed, so.
Yeah.
I expect it in the next couple days, and should be able to take that and move forward with all the forms for the FAA and permit and get it rolling. Already got
Any
quotes
idea
on
when
all
you
the
think you'll
build.
break ground or?
I'm not at the break ground date yet, but as soon as I get the site plan, that kind of is the linchpin right now to get everything else rolling.
Good.
So I'm hoping within the next 30 days I can say I'm moving something.
Good luck on that. Happy to have you out there. Last is the ACC lease.
And I had gotten word from Robert that he is not going to be taking the site that he indicated that he was going to. So that is open. And I know we held it a long time.
Can we get a release from him on that? and I don't mean to be painful, but it'd be nice to have just an email or something in writing saying that he's out of that,
I'm sure we can. We never had an executed lease, so
so there's nothing to
there's,
really.
there's nothing to bind us to
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So, that being said, Ed and I had talked about, given where we are, we need to get some advertising in appropriate places and word out.
Phil and I spoke about that earlier today, and we've got the thought of putting together an information packet with a press release and drawings of that area, some renderings, and getting that out to AOPA, NBAA, the National Business Aircraft Association, Experimental Aircraft Association, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, some other places, so that we get a little bit of traction on that, and as well as the Georgia Airport Authorities Association. So the idea is to get that in the hands of as many corporate entities as well as individuals as we possibly can. And with the interest we're getting right now in the T-hangars, there may be somebody that shows up through that list that would like to build on that site as well. So within the next 30 days, I'd like to say less than that, but within the next 30 days, we'll have a packet that's ready to go out to the market.
And I'll say when Ed and I spoke, hearing tonight officially that that's really, when Ed and I spoke a week ago tonight officially, then we'll make a request, and there may be some aspect of the airport authority input to help push that too, so that we can utilize that stuff in the correct way. So there's a step in there that we'll be
Gotcha.
working on.
Okay.
Since he's out, can we start looking at the possibility of more T-hangars on the west side of that entryway once we're 100% occupied?
If you look at your 5-year CIP, you will see additional T-hangars already in there. And the idea is to get occupancy, full occupancy on the new T-hangars. Once we have that, then we start that list vetting again for how much interest we have. And if we can get a paid, deposited list, funded list that justifies it, then I'm quite comfortable going back to the commissioner and to the authority to say we have justification for additional T-hangars.
Excellent.
I believe that'll be the case, but let's prove it.
All
So,
right. Excellent.
All right. Any other questions around old business? New business? None? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Excuse me, second.
second.
I'm surprised.
We know he was gonna get choked up about it.
Waiting.
No, we can't very much, 7:30, I know you're gonna have that.
Appreciate everybody coming.
Thank you.